Okay, let me share screen. There you go. And this one here, we go on to this. Okay, I think we can start. I've just hit the recording button as well. First and foremost, we'll go through outside of the chart, and then we'll go on to all the trades quite quickly as well. So welcome. Thank you for attending my webinar. Good morning, good afternoon to some. My name is Kenny Simon, and welcome to Bretton's Wednesday's Wednesday's midweek review. And we'll usually go through all the trades that I have shared as well on Monday, and going through trade ideas and trade signals that I have shared as well during the webinar, and also to troubleshoot any sort of pending orders that needs to be canceled, especially pending orders, or you know, should we actually keep it running, or should we actually adjust and money manage, risk manage, trade manage, and all these things as well when we are on a Wednesday's webinar. These are things that we will be discussing. Now, when we go into the news section, as usual, I like the Daily FX to start off with. There are several other websites as well. They are all free websites to read on, and I like the way Daily FX pushes out news that are quite significant for the day. And here, for example, you can actually see the first big news right here is gold prices break uptrend amid rising US dollar and yield. So this is where the negative correlation between gold and USD has sort of broken now. So that is why we don't actually use correlation so much and rely on correlation, because it can actually change at any moment of time. So that is why it is really important for us to watch the levels that we have talked about on Monday as well. And I will go back to the levels that we have talked about onto the charts for gold. And we have mentioned as well, where would it actually be safe for us to actually buy? And once it's actually broken out of that bearish zone, where can we start buying? And that is what has actually happened, has broken out of the bearish zone. It's signaling potential support and potential buying opportunity for gold, but the question is the location of this buy, and where, at what price could we actually enter, and most importantly exit. Okay, so this is for gold. So we know that it has actually been driven by a lot of things that has been going on in the US. And supposedly it should actually be falling, mainly because of the rising US dollar. But the US dollar is rising, the same time gold is rising as well. So there is some break of correlation that we are used to, right? So that's why we shouldn't be relying or always thinking that gold is up, USD is down, and vice versa. Yes, it is majority of the time, but anything can happen to change that, and then change back again to the original ways that it does as well. When it does that, we will never know. So this is basically why we have to be very careful. Now, apart from that, we have also news about oil. Now it says here crude oil price outlook, and then it says the US oil or WTI at risk amid trend line breakout. So we want to look at that technically as well. We want to do the analysis ourselves on the trend, on the technical side of it, onto the chart, to match and see whether or not whatever that we hear and see onto the news or fundamentally is actually clear. So when it's clear on that side, we can have a marry between the fundamental and the technical. That could actually increase the probability of your analysis and the clarity of your analysis, and clarity usually would actually increase the whole probability of your success as well, and your consistency. Okay, so this is basically it. So it says here WTI at risk amid trend line breakout, rising long bet. So let's take a look at the chart later on crude oil, and I want to show certain levels that we need to be aware of as well, that we've talked about as well on Monday as well as Sunday. last week. And here it says, these are all news on July 21st, which is today. So dollar edges higher, but breakout potential curb as risk assets bounce. So this does actually show me that yes, it is on a high, USD is on the rise, but is it actually meeting some resistance line? This is what we need to go onto the chart and look at where it could actually reverse and what are the distance between the current price now for USD to actually reverse, because that is sort of the gauge of how strong gold can actually be going up as well. Because if we are expecting the reversal quite soon on the USD, especially USD crosses, then we might be looking at entering early as well, the possibility of entering early for buying gold. Okay, so this is basically very, very important timing and location of price that we can actually plan in between USD crosses as well as gold prices, entering the buy on the gold prices. We should be looking at all the USD crosses, how they perform, and the levels that are very important. Now we've got some more July 21st ones right here. It's also talking about Australian dollar. So Australian dollar versus the USD, it says here revival hopes flimsy. That actually means that, the outlook to the upside maybe corrected a little bit, not really very good. That's why we have to go onto the chart and see what it means, what it means for us to actually look at the AUDUSD. So, and again, it's also talking about Dow Jones rebound may lead. I have done a bit of an analysis on the US 100 or the NASDAQ as well, and we have benefited some very big traders on NASDAQ, on Dow Jones as well. Because NASDAQ, we have predicted sort of the big, a very, very short-term bounce, and it bounced, and then now it's on the way down. But that short-term bounce has actually benefited big traders quite a lot, even though it's it's not very big a movement, but that bounce was expected, so they wanted to ride that bounce, and that went really well as well for NASDAQ. So with that, we want to take a look at, of course, we want to take a look at gold. We must take a look at gold. That is the feature right here. We want to take a look at crude oil as well, and then all the USD crosses, and also Australian dollar. And for those who are interested in the indices as well, we can take a look following the questions that you may have. So with that, I want to now go on to the FX Street economic calendar, just to marry in all these news that we have actually seen, let's say on the daily FX. You can actually use many other sources to actually know about all these important big headlines. But here, I want to also combine what we have just mentioned earlier on the news, trading news, and various things that I talked about, gold and all that. Then we want to actually go onto the economic calendar and look at an idea of how volatile today could actually be for which pair, which instrument. So I'm not really bothered about all the results of the news and things like that. These are old school ways of dealing with fundamental, is to go and look at actual versus consensus and all that kind of thing. It has to some extent will drive the market when it is actually really positive, really negative and all that, yes, but it wouldn't actually be giving you the exact location of entry and especially exit. It wouldn't give you that. But and that is why we will be using the fundamental, the economic data releases right here as your fuel to the market, not as a decision-making tool. So it's not a decision-making tool to buy or to sell. You do that on your own with your technical analysis and various other things, but not actually using this as a buy and sell. It's just to know that you can ride the trend with a very good run of the volatility, but not to buy or to sell. Okay, so you need to use other tools, other ways, other methodology and technique skills to actually know when to enter and when to exit. So that is a very important piece of information that you guys need to know, so that you don't get trapped into something that you may think it's a trend caused by the fundamental analysis, and then you think you can make really big money with it, and then you enter it, but then you're not, you're entering it with just the data release idea, and that is very, very risky. Okay, that's called news trading as well. There's a totally different set of skills. There's a lot of other experts out there that can actually do news trading really well, and they attach that with their scalping skills. That is something that I don't do, so I don't really know how to do that, and that's just not my style of trading or my preferred way to actually trade and analyze the market. So, but there are many ways out there, but the outcome is more important than what are the many ways to actually trade, right? So the outcome is you want to trade, make money consistently in trading the Forex market. That's basically it. So there are many ways to do it, and there are many right ways to do it, and there are many not very right ways of doing it as well, or risky ways. So here on Wednesday, July 21st, today, we are expecting Australian numbers right here, and also JPY right here. It's a report on the by the Bank of Japan, basically on monetary policy meeting minutes. So then we also have something positive here on the public sector net borrowing GBP, but then that's categorized as a little bit on the low side of volatility and impact of that data release. But what we can see, you've got the JPY side of it, you've got the AUD side of it, that could actually be posing some nice, how you call that, trade ideas, probably movements as well, because when we went here, we had one of the news that talked about Australian dollar right here. And we, if you guys remember, we talked about it on Monday. It's just because of the lockdown, various other things. There was a very big, nice sell, right, on the Australian dollar versus all other pairs. Most of the other pairs on Monday, as throughout yesterday as well, was a very good trade with AUD crosses by selling the AUD. So is it still the same case or not? We need to actually analyze that further. Oops, sorry about that. Let's see. And we want to pay attention to Australian dollar again as well, because, you know, it's part of what comes out in the news as well. We don't have any strong GBP news at the moment that is giving us any hints, stuff like that. But it's always worth for us to actually go on to the economic calendar as well to look at that. But now we want to go on to the action Forex, just to use some tools like the heat map, for example, and just to get an idea of what's going on in the market in terms of trend. But of course, you know, it's not that accurate and think that this is the holy grail type tool that we can use and it's very accurate. No, it's just to give you a bit of an idea. Now, I like the movements of, you know, the colors that I see on the action Forex heat map, because we've got a lot of dark blues and a lot of dark reds. This is really good in terms of the trend side of it. Now, what I can see is that USD is looking really, really strong, or strongly bullish against AUD right here. And this is the only one currency that has all dark blue in one column. So what I would like to do is quickly to write down AUDUSD. Okay, so obviously USD is much stronger. AUD is still on the very, very weak side. And apart from that, I see the others as well, but I like to focus on that one red column first, and then look at the top 10 movers as well. Now here on AUD, it's got another column all red, and that's with the euro. So I want to also look at euro, EUR, euro versus AUD. So these two as well. And then I want to match it with the top 10, whether or not it is a focus by other investors and traders to actually trade AUDUSD, Euro AUD or not, and whether they are paying a lot of attention to AUD still, and whether USD crosses are good to actually pick today as well. Now, as we can actually see, we have got for JPY, because we've got a fundamental data release on JPY. JPY has got loads of bullishness, so that actually gives us a lot of hint that people are into the JPY for risk of reasons, because it is a safe haven. So they're buying the JPY against all the other currencies. So here we can see that JPY is bullish against most, except for USD. It is generally bullish because USD, it shows here that USD could actually be really strong, because it's quite clear as well that USD is quite bullish against a lot of commodity currencies, especially including New Zealand as well. But then what's the highlight of the entire scenario of trading Forex is AUD's weakness, and AUD against USD looks quite good, Euro AUD. And we have actually talked about Euro AUD as well, and given you some trade ideas and trade signal as of Monday for Euro AUD, and it has actually hit TP as well for Euro AUD, and also the AUD crosses. So it has been quite good, even though starting from Monday itself, we see a lot of volatility pick up. Now a lot of volatility, liquidity as well coming into the market. We can see clarity of trend as well, but we want that clarity of trend in our chart, on our chart, when we are doing the analysis of trend right now. Shortly, when we go onto the chart, we want to see everything matches in terms of trend as well, so that we can ride along that trend and start trading. Okay, so let's go on to the top movers very quickly before we enter the chart. Now, on the top movers, before this, I have just written down AUD, USD, and Euro AUD. So as you can see, we have got lots of 4 dots here that basically gives you the idea on which pair has got clear trend on all 4 time frames, if it has all 4 dots in these columns right here. So we have, as expected, we are seeing a lot of focus onto AUD pairs. Got AUD, 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 first 3 itself, AUD, AUD, really good. AUDJPY, AUDUSD seem to be quite clear in trend. So what I will do is also write AUDJPY as a pair that I would like to analyze further on the chart. We've also got CADJPY, all there are dots on 4 columns as well. So I would write that down, CADJPY, and then also NZDJPY. Okay, so we may have some nice nice hints, perhaps maybe trade ideas, trade signals. We don't know that yet. So, but we've got 5 to sort of concentrate on: AUDUSD, Euro AUD, AUDJPY, CADJPY, and NZDJPY. So we want to analyze these 5 for trends especially, and also trading opportunity. So since it is giving us that hint about Australia dollar being focused on quite a lot, so that basically means there's a lot is going on in Australia still. I would presume it's still got to do with the COVID situation. If you want to know more, very simple, you just type Australia economy right there, or even COVID situation, and just go onto the news section right there. And you can see 1 hour ago, Australia under lockdown sees jump in COVID-19 cases. So this is solidifying the whole scenario of Australia being in lockdown and terrible condition, cases of COVID as well. And that what that means is that we have got a solid trend to the downside for Australian dollar. So that's matching with what we have seen on the news, on the heat map as well. And we want to see that now onto the chart, so that we can actually start trading, pick out the pair, and actually start analyzing it, draw lines, and then plan our entry, especially exits and your stop losses as well. So besides that, we can see that that is really, it's from the Reuters right there. And then 6 hours ago, Australia's economic recovery under threat, slow vaccination, the top risk. So there you go. It is building up on to it getting worse and worse on the downside for Australia. So Australian dollar is looking like it's going to free fall a lot. So we want to find loads of opportunities right there. Also, we want to look at New Zealand dollar would actually be that little sister following behind. So that could actually then be impacting the New Zealand dollar to the downside as well, or New Zealand dollar crosses. So there you go. And we can actually then take a look. Now, because of that, this is one very important theme as well, because Australia is such a huge economic superpower as well in terms of, selling it to China, in big amounts, minerals and everything else, and also to the US. Now, with that, because we have mentioned, right, that the reason why USD is going up right now as well is mainly because it suddenly kicks into the functionality of the most traded currency in the world for all the other things, but most importantly, it kicks in as the ultimate safe haven because of what is happening in Australia right now. If it is happening as well in the UK as what it happens in Australia or other countries as well, especially in Europe and all that, suddenly US will become that safe haven. Okay, so this is why it is difficult to expect the USD to actually fall. So what could potentially happen is we could literally buy USD, buy gold as well, but then sell all the commodity currencies like Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, CAD, ZAR, everything would most probably fall. Okay, so we've got lots of trading opportunities right here, and we want to get going and find these trading opportunities in the charts. Okay, all right, so we've got that whole idea right now. So it's probably best, just before that, I've forgotten to actually look into Australian dollars volatility chart. So it's best to also look at Australian dollar if we were to trade Australian dollar and also the USD. Which other currencies could we actually combine it with? So that's Australian dollar right there. Go on to 4-hour plus a daily chart. Now let's look at, okay, it says here very clearly AUD versus the JPY. So AUDJPY, I've already got that written down as well. So that is one of the 5 pairs that I have written down here. So AUDJPY. Let's also go on to USD to find USD crosses, which are best in terms of volatility as well. So it says AUD, so I need to write it down. AUD USD, I've already written it down, but USD CAD. Okay, so USD CAD is another one that I would like to take a look as well. So I've got 6 pairs right here in focus. So now we'll go on to the chart, but we'll go into the chart and look at the pairs that we have looked at already since Monday, just to look at how it has actually performed, the things that I have presented on Monday as well. How has it played out so far? So let's start off with the 3 GBP crosses that we have actually talked about on Monday. Now, GBPUSD has actually gone really well. It has actually dropped further as we predicted as well. There were no hints for me, especially onto the chart, that it has a lot of room up. It has no room up as well, mainly because we have mentioned that it has actually been blocked here quite a lot, here and here. So this does act like a double top thing right here, and this is basically where we can see a potential cup and handle pattern as well. So this one here, if it were to be a cup and handle pattern, that drop would actually drop to about 50% of the length between the bottom of the cup to the high of the cup or the top of the cup. So here, for example, it has a potential to drop down to 128.32 area, which was already marked off and sort of mentioned to the traders about the cup and handle pattern. So this blue line right here, this is basically where it could potentially drop down to, but that is like far beyond, because we're looking at the weekly chart right here, right? So that is just the potential of a 700 plus pip drop. But we need to look at it in stages as well. Like for now, for example, if we are looking at GBPUSD, you want to sell much more. It has potential, but the prices is at 1.3597. So where would it actually be an ideal better price to sell is at 1.3570. So you need to wait until it falls to 1.3580 psychological number first, and as it goes down lower, then you can actually enter at 1.3570, or you actually fix a pending order for a sell at 1.3570 from now. So when you go, if you are aiming to the downside, basically, you just need to be careful with this area right here, which is a closing price of a bearish mother candle at 3524. So where I would see it, you exiting, the best is at 1.3530. Okay, so 1.3530. I'll just lay that one out. 3530 right there. Okay, and then I'll just change this one to 3570 in red line, just to give you an idea of the entry point for GBPUSD selling trigger, selling pending order. Okay, so 35, that's 3570 right there. So 73, okay, that's about 40 pips potential right there. Okay, so this is basically the shortest term type trade on a sell for GBPUSD, selling at 1.3570, pending order we're talking about here on sell, and then exiting at 1.3530. So that is for the previous GBPUSD. Okay, and then is that clear? Yeah, that's okay for GBPUSD, guys. All good. Okay. Now GBPJPY. For GBPJPY is the same because of the safe haven interest as of Monday for JPY. A lot of buying on JPY, pushing JPY prices up. It is still bullish at this moment of time, so it is pulling down the GBP a lot. So let's also just check a little bit on UK Britain economy. COVID 7 hours ago, UK's has little scope for longer term spending. Okay, it's a little bit on the negative side of it there. And then COVID-19 global updates, US warns against travel to Britain. So that is basically where it is trapping a lot of people as well, and stopping a lot of people from traveling, so that the travel industry as well would actually be impacted big time if that is a global type warning as well right there. 1 day ago, we've got England's reopening loosens. So the reopening loosens, meaning that they will reopen, everything looked really nice and green and everybody seemed to be going into normal, but then now something else happened, and then restrictions coming in as well because of rising cases. So this is basically what is pulling down the British pound, okay, coming down a lot more. And then 3 days ago, UK Health Minister Javid test positive. Okay, we've got all this kind of stuff coming on. Recovery to continue. That was 5 days ago, but then recent, about 3 days ago, all these loosening of things just basically made a turnaround, and things became negative for the UK. So this is what's pulling it down. So there you go. You've got some fundamental and news right there to actually back up what we will be seeing onto the chart right here. So as we can see, GBPJPY price, as I've mentioned, as of Monday, yesterday as well, that the price has gone into the rate selling zone. So it is selling time. When we are on the monthly chart, then we can see that this selling zone is actually within a larger selling zone as well from this very big bearish candle. This bearish candle that we see on the monthly chart is worth 2,000 over pips, that one body of the mother candle, bearish mother candle that we can see right here. So we are just taking it in stages to ride along these 2,000 plus pips to the downside. So we want to be careful as well because there's a lot of correction. But what I can see is that pattern wise, we have got a double top right here as well. And this is giving a lot of room to the downside. And this is also being mirrored by the GBPUSD. So GBPUSD, GBPJPY sort of like really correlates. We've got the same type double top right there, pushing prices right down. So this is what's happening to GBPJPY. At the moment, it is trading at 149.33. So if we want to know whether or not it can actually fall a lot more, or we want to choose an ideal better price to enter, it's probably better to wait until price falls to 149.20. And as it falls under the 20 psychological number, then we can actually start selling, thinking of a pending order of a sell at 149.10. Okay, so here, for example, if I look at the 4-hour chart, let's look at it, or the daily chart right here. Okay, now I don't really see at this moment of time whether it could actually go down immediately. I see a threat of support at this moment of time. You can see you've got support here, support here, support various others. And on the daily chart, it's been hinted with a pin bar right here, a reversal type candlestick pattern, which basically means, yes, it can actually just trick you and make you believe that it will go down a little bit more. But then it's got already a lot of support, and that pin bar is telling you there may be exhaustion to the downside. So perhaps a little bit of upward type movement. And I think the limit of that upward type movement could actually, it could actually go back up to the point of 149.20 area and then reverse down again. Okay, so this is basically what I feel, and I don't see a very good opportunity to enter now. If you are entering on a sell, yes, you can, but you need to look at exiting, for example, around here. If you are selling, let's say you want to sell again, you want to take the risk and see whether or not this one comes down a little bit lower, you can, but you need to exit at 149.90. Okay, 148.90. Yeah, 148.90. You have to exit because you've got some very strong support area as well there. Okay, so that's for GBPJPY. Now GBPNZD, it's the same sort of scenario. Let's just check. It is with the bullish geometric ABCD. It didn't break that area. It actually proven to be more supportive, GBP versus the NZD. Now, because of Australia, what's going on in Australia, as we have talked about earlier on, NZD might follow suit with the trend of Australian dollar. So New Zealand dollar would most probably be actually acting and moving more bearishly. So that would then increase the GBP stand to actually go up. Okay, so if it does and then cross over, then you will see that zigzag going up, and then it is still in all means in a bullish zone as well for GBPNZD. Okay, all right. So it's risky as well at this moment of time, trading very close to the 20 psychological number. So we want to wait a little bit more and not to actually go into GBPNZD, a little bit too risky at this moment of time, because we may have got two currencies that are both weak, both having issues in the economic side of it, in the COVID situation and all that kind of thing. So both are quite flimsy, both are quite fragile. So we don't want to focus on our energy to trade onto two currencies that are both going the same direction, most probably. So with oil, we have talked about this. We have lots of oil traders have actually ridden on a very nice selling type movement. So that is proving to be the case at this moment of time. And what we are looking at, what I'm looking at this moment of time, is the potential of bearishness, further bearishness in this area right here, or further bearishness and further movement of price entering the sell zone. So I see that the sell zone, I mean, we need to wait for the price to come lower. The lower it gets to 64.70, then it can actually be your triggers price of sell. Then you can actually take it lower and basically aim it sooner, aim it at stages at 59, 59.60, and then you re-enter again and stuff like that. But for now, we need to wait for the price to come lower for US oil to 65.70. That can trigger your sell order. And from there on, you can actually sell. And that's basically because it's already inside the selling zone as well. Very nicely, it's inside the selling zone. Okay, that's for US oil. For UK oil, the same goes for UK oil. It somehow moved a little bit faster than US oil because of all the decisions needed to be made by the OPEC Plus, and there were some complications and various other things. So UK oil was the one moving quite a bit as well, and it has entered the selling zone, as you can actually see. Right now, it's not an ideal price to sell, but you are still in the selling zone. You can sell at any moment of time, but the most ideal price to sell will be at 68.40, because we're using psychological numbers as well for oil and currencies. So 68.40, you can actually sell right there, and just aim it right to the very bottom right here at 61.60 to actually exit. So that's basically where I see price could actually end up at least for the short to medium term for UK oil. Okay, we've talked about BTC as well, because there was some demand asking about BTC, and BTC, I've given a bit of a signal on the 4-hour chart for a buy, and that actually hit the take profit exactly as well right there. As you can see, the two lines were actually drawn yesterday, and the price were just down here, and then it just hit there. So it hit take profit for the short term buy. So that was quite a good trade for most of the BTC USD traders yesterday in Thailand and various other places. So also we are looking at more bias to the downside as well. That was just a short-term type movement, but then the bias, it looks like it has more potential to the downside potentially. We've got a bit of a gap here, needs covering. So I see that there is a potential for it to go a little bit lower to the 28,897.51 area, for it to actually find the support right there, because of the previous closing price of this bullish candle could be the opening price of a supporting candle right here for the reversal or to the downside. But I see that it could actually be an opening price as well, a closing price of that mother candle to be an opening price of a new mother candle currently to actually move to the upside. But what I see is that the bullishness of BTC may actually happen a little bit later, because if I go onto the monthly chart, I can see that the bullishness actually happens. The power of the bulls could literally be a little bit later, a little bit above, not so soon upon breakout. This is what I think, looking at it technically as well. So here, if I look at the positioning of a bullish mother candle, is actually quite high. It's a little bit above, still takes time to go upwards right here. Okay, so here, this is where your bullish zone could potentially be. So you see there's a gap here between the entry area of, entry area of the price is expected to be only, the bulls would probably be more interested to start, and then more bulls coming in at 36,622. So right now it looks like it's a little bit, there's a battle between sideways right now, and a battle between deciding whether to buy or to sell, but it is in no man's land at this moment of time here, the location of the current price. So as soon as it actually goes lower, if it does actually go lower and go under 28,897.51, 1831, then there would actually be a bit of a selling opportunity, and that selling opportunity will actually then be the length of this bullish candle right there, basically to exit there. Okay, so I will mark this as red. So now you've got your red selling zone and the blue buying zone. So right now for BTC versus USD, the price hasn't entered. It's in between. It's still deciding. It's in no man's land. Hasn't entered the blue buying zone or the red selling zone. So let's look at price. For me personally, I would wait until the price have entered either one of the zones. Then we can actually look at a bigger movement and to attack it from there. Okay. Okay, so that's BDC. Now let's talk very quickly about gold before we get into one or two of the other pairs that I've mentioned as well. Now, gold, very interestingly, it has actually pierced out of the buying, out of the selling zone. So yes, we have got a little bit of a buy right there. It has been talked about on Monday. I have given you the indication of where it could actually come down at, and that was already laid out in the blue line at 1831.01. So I have actually given you that hint that if it does break out and you are actually buying, make sure you exit at 1831 and below. Okay, so that should keep you safe, mainly because of that candle right there that I have actually got this blue line from the closing price of that mother candle. So I have put that line onto it as your exit price if you were to be buying gold. So I hope you have actually taken that hint and exited before 1831 and made profit from it. Okay, so that's for gold. All right, and Euro AUD, I've given you hints as well, all the traders to actually buy right there from 1.5890 to 5970 right there. Quite good, not too bad trading sort of opportunity right there. That's about 80 plus, I think about 70 plus pips right there. So for those who have actually hit that, really great. And then we have got more room now to the upside. Okay, so but that was the trading opportunity on the short medium short term right there that I've given as well, and that has hit 70 plus pips in profit for Euro AUD. Now for AUDJPY, lots of bearishness, as we know what's going on right now in Australia. So a lot more bearishness expected. We can actually see that it is in still the selling zone in a red color right here. So we are covering one of the pair that I have listed down, AUDJPY right here. And we want to look at the other pairs as well. So right now it is actually just on the brink of support, touching it right there, and we need it to break that area and then go lower than 80.00. So once it actually comes down to 79.90 area, then you can actually sell right there to actually right along the downside. And I think it's probably best to also exit a little bit earlier. Let me just it has the blue line here, okay, at the 78.90 area. So if you are selling at 79.90 and then you need to exit at 78.90, okay. So I'm going to just adjust this in terms of price. There you go, done. All right, so there you go. This is for AUDJPY. Now, for USDCAD, it's looking not too bad. It is actually progressing. It is following through the pattern quite well as well to the upside, but it is slow. Okay, so it is not that fast for USDCHF. Hi, Aaron, how you doing? Welcome. We're talking about USDCHF right now. So with USDCHF, we've got these two patterns right here, the big mother pattern, geometric ABCD bullish pattern right here. And then we've got another baby one right here, but both are actually signaling the upside movement potential to the upside, okay, for USD versus the CHF. But what we want to take a look is we want to take a look at USDCAD, mainly because of certain things that we have seen earlier on. It's probably it's the one of the pairs that I've actually written down as well. So USDCAD. So now let's take a look at USDCAD. Okay, so USDCAD, let's just go on to the biggest time frame right there, see what we can actually notice. Now, it is just too close to resistance right here. To the left, you can see major resistance right there. I'll just mark this one here. Okay. Okay, major resistance at 2766 or 67 area. We need it to fall further if we are looking at selling, but of course USD is seen to be really strong, so we are looking into the upside movement. Now it is at 2766. It could be an ideal price to buy because it is already above 2750 psychological number. Let's check. Hi there, Hirish, welcome. And we've got 1.2766 area, still ideal price to buy for USD CAD, but now we need to look at exit points. We need to look at where should we actually exit at. We have got a mother candle, a bullish mother candle closed at this area right here, and that is at 2826, so 2810. So if you're buying right now, your exit should actually be minimum at 2810. Okay, 2810. So 1.2810. So let me go to a lower time frame. Maybe perhaps a 4-hour chart gives you a better idea. So you can see that we're a little bit far ahead of the area right there. It's at 27. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. It's at 28. It's trading at 2720 at this moment of time. So it is exactly on the psychological number. So I would think that the buy price would probably be best at 2730. Okay, 10 pips above the 20. So 2730, 2730. Okay, I think that was a mistake that I've done there. So 2730, it's trading at 2720 area. We need it to go up and pierce through to the 1.2730. That would trigger a buy price. Your exit price can actually be at 2810. So I'm going to just do this. 2810 right there. Okay, but for the shorter term, because we're looking at the 4-hour chart, you need to also look at this closing price area right here, resistance, quite significant resistance area at 2770 exactly. You can actually exit there as well. So what that means is that you can do a pending order or buy at the 1.2730, then you exit at 2770. Now 2770 and 2730, that gives you 40 pips potential right there for the buy. Okay, then if you want to re-enter again, you need to re-enter again only at 2790. So then it gives you the second entry with, you know, less pips as well. So 2790 as your entry price right there. Okay, so this is your exit price. Give me a second. It became much smaller as well in terms of the, okay, and exit price. Okay, so now we've got entry price, first entry 1.2730 for USD CAD, exit at 2770. Okay, you can do that as pending, you can do that as spot trading when the price reaches there. And also your second entry right there to grab that little bit of pips right there, maybe a little bit risky as well, but it's also quite small, I think about 20 pips or so. Okay, right there. So yes, you can do both. So you've got first entry 1.2730, exit at 2770, and then as price goes up a little bit more, may trigger your second entry at 2790, exit at that's something not quite right there. 2810, yes. Yeah, 2810. So 1.2810 exit, entry 1.2790. That's your second entry though, okay? Second trade. The first trade is here at 40 pips, 1.2730, entry, exit 1.2770. Okay, all good so far. So this is USDCAD, guys. Okay. Now, for those who are looking at the US 30 is still in there, but it is in a bit of a selling zone right there, actually, in a way. It needs to go up. It would most probably be reaching the 36661 area right there, but it's been really, really slow. Okay, for the US 30. What else? Okay, now I would be looking into different pairs at the moment. GBPJPY, GBP here. Okay, let me add on. I need to get rid of this one right here. Okay, so we need to look into just one or two more pairs. I think the AUDJPY would be nice. We have already seen the AUDJPY right there. So I'm just going to replace this one here with another pair. CADJPY, I've written and given 6 pairs that we want to look at, and maybe giving us trading opportunities as well, but we need to look into the trend. So they are AUDUSD, a lot of focus on AUD selling at the moment because of the fundamentals going on in Australia, really bad lockdown. So AUDUSD, Euro AUD, AUDJPY, CADJPY, NZDJPY, and USDCAD that we've just taken a look at. So CADJPY, very interesting, NZDJPY as well. So we can always take a look at CADJPY right here. Okay, so what's happening to CADJPY as we look at this on the monthly chart itself? It looks like it's got more room, perhaps to the downside, but it's found resistance right here. It got more resistance as well. It has actually gone price right now. It's already trading under the 86.50 psychological number. So it is giving us the hint that there are more safe haven buying by the traders who are trading the Japanese yen. So the interest of entering the Japanese yen with a buy is still there. People are still buying it as a safe haven. So CADJPY is dropping against that. What I can actually see is as it goes lower, we have got more selling potential. So I can see that as it goes lower a little bit at 85.80 and below, it could definitely be falling much more. But at this moment of time, perhaps it wants to go as low as the psychological number of 86.00. So whatever you do, if you're selling at the moment, CADJPY, make sure you exit at 86.10. Okay, so it is trading at 86.40s area, under the 50s area, which is still potentially good to actually sell, but make sure you exit at 86.10. Okay, just so that we are safe in knowing the area and location of the sell that gets even better as it goes lower. So lower than 85.80, let's say your trigger price at 85.70 would actually then bring about bigger movement to the downside, and you can ride along bigger trend to the downside. At this moment of time, it may be resting a little bit, wanting to flood around with the support areas right here as well. So we want to be careful with it. Okay, so we've got a bit of an upside down cup right here. Okay, this is an upside down cup that usually signals downward move even more. Okay, but what it needs to do first is to create the handle of the cup to the upside. So there should actually be some reversal if this is a successful upside down cup or inverted cup and handle pattern. Then it should actually rise up and go upwards, make the correction to this level here at 88 area. So there may be some things that may motivate it slowly zigzag going up to that level and then find the correction there. So we might also not ignore this area as a potential correction at 87 area. So what usually could potentially happen is for it to go zigzag up right there, right? And then come back down here, break out this, come down, and it will go all the way down. And usually it goes down the same length as this bottom of the cup to the mouth of the cup. that is the same length. So there is a potential upon breakout of at least 500 plus pips to the downside after it goes under the 85-80 area downwards. Then you will find loads of potential, but now it needs to create that handle of the pattern first, then come down. Once it breaks that out, then you will see that potential 500 plus pip drop, but of course not a straight line drop. It's got its correction and various other things, but the potential is there for that much of a pip, but it needs to go on and make that handle first. Then it will complete the formation of this inverted cup and handle pattern. Okay, that is for CADJPY. Okay, so let's check again. All right, CADJPY. I'm going to insert a few. Okay. All right, let me just put that. I can't find over EUA. Okay, give me a second. Just uploading the template that I've saved. Okay, I need to probably do it again. All right, no problem. What we can then do is, give me a second, guys. Right, so I want to look at another pair, and that would actually be the NZDJPY as well. So here, I'll switch that one on. And you can actually take a look at this. Now it's trading at 75.92 area now, because it's against the JPY. NZD most probably will follow through what's happening in Australia, so it would actually be going down a lot more. I see a potential of a drop basically at this area right here. This area right here at 75.80s area. Now it needs to go lower than 75.80s in order for us to actually look at a potential sell. Will only start at the 75.70 area. So I think 75.80 area would probably be ideal for the sell. Okay, right there. And 75.60 area would probably be good to exit the market. Okay. Okay, there you go. So this is another trade idea right here. 75.70 to actually sell for NZDJPY. We're looking at the 1 hour chart at the moment of time. We're doing price action purely here with the psychological numbers as well, and exit at 75.60. So you're looking at the potential of about 10 pips or so only at this moment of time, because we're looking at the 1 hour chart. So hence the reason, if we go on to bigger chart right there, then under the 75.70, of course, we do have some bearish candle. We could go, I think, as low as this area right here, but I wouldn't take the chance there. I'll go a little bit higher. That's at 75. Okay, so if you're selling at 75.70, you may be able to exit at 75.30. So that would give you 40 pips as well. So you can actually take that instead, where you sell at 75.70, you take profit at 75.30. Okay, so 40 pips potential for a sell right there for NZDJPY. Okay, guys, I think that's basically it. We've shared quite a number of trade ideas, trade signals as well that we have actually participated in since Monday, and also what we've shared as of last week. We've gone through them. Any questions at all so far? Any questions? Everything good? No questions? You guys okay? Is it okay to end the session for today? AUDJPY, yes, of course. AUDJPY, be this one here. AUDJPY, the selling price should be triggering at 79.90, and then you take profit at 78.90. We are still in the selling zone for AUDJPY. But you want to sell because now it is a little bit in the risky area in terms of price. All right, that's it. Good. Okay, so hope you guys have got some insights into what to trade today, what is your positioning as a trader, managing your trades. No problem, Aaron. And we can actually then, answer your questions as well. Just direct message me for any other questions. This will be a recorded session, so we'll have that sent through, no problems. And that's basically it. So you want to look at that, and basically with that we want to progress along and trade all these nice trade ideas and trade signals that I've given today as well, because we are expecting loads of volatility, a lot of trend clarity as well. With the happenings in Australia, it looks like it might actually, it's not a good thing that is happening in Australia at the moment. It's just lockdown and too many complications jamming up the economy of the country as well. And it is giving us the opportunity for a sell for the AUD crosses especially. Okay, so yes, with that we want to look at more opportunities as well, and I think there are a lot of opportunities in trading for today, so you should be bagging a lot of pips today, but be careful with your exit. I almost don't really think about the entry so much, but then the exit is very, very important. Okay, all right, guys, with that I want to thank you for your time, and you will have this recording as well, being in the members area of BKFX as well, and that's basically where it will be stored. Most of the videos and everything else will be stored in there. Okay, all right, guys, thank you once again. Have a great day and a great pipping week. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.